Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us for the next episode of Model Mondays. My name's Anna. I'm an event planner for Reactor, joining you from Redmond, Washington. Before we start, I do have some quick housekeeping. Please take a moment to read our code of conduct. We seek to provide a respectful environment for both our audience and presenters. While we absolutely encourage engagement in the chat, we ask that you please be mindful of your commentary, remain professional and on topic. Keep an eye on that chat. We'll be dropping helpful links and checking for questions for our presenters and hosts to answer live. Our session is being recorded and will be available to view on demand right here on the Microsoft Reactor channel. With that, I'd love to turn it over to our host for today. Thanks for joining.
Hello, everyone. It is Monday. I am back hosting another week of Model Mondays. My name is April Gittens. I'm a principal cloud advocate here at Microsoft on our AI team, and we have so much fun for you today on our stream for Model Mondays. We have a really, really interesting product that we're going to get into later. And we're also going to be taking a look at some things around agents. And I know everyone's buzzing right now about the latest model news. Within the chat, we also have Lee Stott, who's there as well. So if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. I am curious to know where everyone is from today. I see that the conversation has kicked off there. I'm based here in Los Angeles, but I would love to see where everyone is. I know I saw someone from Atwater, California. Someone says, must be a Monday. Takes cake. Yes, it is Monday. Ooh, we have Brazil in the house as well. All right. Okay. So with that said, let's dive into some latest updates around models. So before models, sorry, I'm getting super excited here. As I mentioned, we're going to talk about AI agents today. Joining us later will be Mona. We're going to take a look at what we've been doing here at Microsoft around creating agents. I know agents are hot right now. And then with that said, let's dive into the weekly highlights of what's new in Azure AI Foundry this week with Sharmila. Sharmila, how are you?
I'm doing good, April. How are you?
I'm doing well. You know, it's Monday, and so for some reason, I'm just super excited. Maybe it's the stream. I think it's the stream that's making me super excited.
And to be honest, last week was a very interesting week with a bunch of more new models launching, and this is going to be an interesting highlights section today.
Oh, yes, I'm excited because I've been doing some vibe coding with one of those models that released last week. But without further ado, I won't hold the people up at home. Let's start the video to look at the highlights.
Hello everyone and welcome back to Model Mondays highlights. And in this week's highlights, actually we are going to share a lot of model news and what a week it has been with GPT-5, GPT-OSS and so many other models launching on Azure AI Foundry. So let's get started. Azure AI Foundry now supports GPT-5, OpenAI's new flagship model, and it marks a very big milestone in LLMs because with variants like GPT-5, which is a reasoning heavy model, GPT-5 Mini, which is a real-time agent task model, and GPT-5 Nano, which is ultra low latency Q&A model, plus a 272,000 token context window. This lineup offers both power and flexibility. And integrated into Azure AI Foundry, it's actually integrated via the model router. So model router, if you remember, it was launched at Build and it could automatically pick between a few OpenAI models depending on your prompt and use case. And in this, with this launch, we have also added GPT-5 to that. So it lets developers dispatch the right model for the right job, depending on whether it's a reasoning job generation or if it's for speed. So go check out GPT-5 in Azure AI Foundry and use it via model router. And as usual, for every model highlight, we have a QR code and some slides. And if you take a picture of the QR code, it'll take you to the a blog where you'll get more details and more resources, or it'll take you directly to a GitHub repo with a sample code. Moving on, we launched OpenAI's first open weight model since GPT-2. It is GPT-OSS 120B and GPT-OSS 2020B, and both are now available via Azure AI Foundry, the cloud environment, and Windows AI Foundry, like through Foundry Local. These Apache licensed models offer high performance on consumer-grade GPUs as little as 16 GB, and they are supporting reasoning, coding, and agent tasks at both the edge or in the cloud. So this is a big win for accessibility and on-premise AI deployment. And the best thing is, of course, open source models are becoming the norm these days, but making it available through Foundry, you not only get the benefits of open source models, but you also get the benefits of using it on um, a very safe and secure through a very safe and secure platform. And it also comes with all the other tooling around Foundry, like the evaluations, the monitoring, the fine tuning. So you don't get just an open source model, you get the complete ecosystem around it along with the benefits of an open source model. Moving on, Azure AI Foundry has just added Flux One Context, Flux One Context Pro and Flux 1.1 Pro from Black Forest Labs. And I know a lot of you have been asking for the availability of these models through our Discord channels. There has been constant questions around when is BFL models going to be available, and we heard you, and it is available. And this is another great reason why you should leverage our Discord chat or our sessions, Q&A sessions, to tell us what you need, because these get passed on directly to our product managers, to our leadership team, so that they know that this is what the customer wants and we strive to make that happen. So now these models enable in-context image generation and editing, and it allows developer to regenerate scenes, maintain character consistency, perform style transfers, and run iterative edits. And they're up to 8x faster than other competitive tools, handling high resolution prompts smoothly. And another best part is in Azure AI Foundry, it is available through our image playground, and we talked about image playground a few months back. This is also launched through the image playground, so you can go and quickly try it out through the playground before you commit to using it in your applications. Moving on, the final last but one highlight, the new browser automation tool preview, and this is available in Azure AI Foundry's agent service. It allows agents to perform real web tasks like search, navigation, form filling, appointment booking, all via natural language. Fully accessible via API and SDK, it enables agents to mimic real user behavior in multi-turn browser sessions. And finally, a GitHub Copilot news. Developers are using GitHub Copilot's agent mode, and they can now pair it with a Playwright MCP server to streamline UI bugging. The AI agent analyzes the UI, identifies bugs, and proposes fixes, all governed by clear requirements. This makes debugging more efficient and intelligent, and the blog that I pointed you to through the QR code actually walks you through all the steps on how you can set this up. So that brings us to the end of Model Monday's weekly highlights. Now I'll hand it over back to April. Thank you, everyone.
So many good things.
Yeah, it has been a week, interesting week last week.
Yeah, I see in the chat, Takes Cake mentioned that they recently just swapped out the model in their RAG app for, I believe it was GPT-5 Mini, and they're still getting users' feedback. Which everyone, I highly recommend if you're just thinking of swapping out your models, definitely do sufficient testing, whether it's manual or automated evaluation, just to see how things have evolved. But it's been really great, Sharmila, to see that folks are giving these new models a try. They're excited about them. Also, Lee also shared in the chat as well. If you are trying out different models, and I know Sharmila also mentioned the new updates around OSS. We do have a Discord where we would love to hear your feedback. We want to hear what you're doing. And so please make sure to continue the conversation there. Sharmila, before I switch over to our next topic, anything else that you want to share with our viewers for the weekly highlights?
I mean, nothing to share because I think I shared all the highlights, but I am, as you said, curious to learn more about what the community is doing, especially open source models, because this is something new that OpenAI is also now strongly entered this game with their new OSS models. So I would love to understand what use cases you're using these OSS models and how you're thinking about OSS versus the other proprietary models. So please feel free to comment on it in our Discord chat or even here. Thank you all.
Oh, perfect. Thank you so much, Sharmila. Super excited. I'm going to continue to keep using GPT-5 this week. All right. So that then brings us to our weekly spotlight. And joining today on the stream is Mona Whalin. Mona, how are you today?
Hey, April. I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing super well. I am beyond excited to speak with you about agents. And I know later this week we have a really great AMA scheduled also in the Discord, just in case folks didn't know. But Mona, before we even dive into anything agents, could you share with us more about who you are and your role here at Microsoft?
Absolutely. So I'm currently with the Azure AI Agent Service team. I was the founding PM here, and I started my career with Azure OpenAI, where I was responsible for shipping some of our latest and greatest models. And that kind of led us to start thinking about this whole paradigm of agents when everyone started talking about agents and what they can mean for business automation. And that sort of like led us to understanding and exploring more around what we can offer within agentic AI in Azure, which led us to the launch of the product that we know today as Agent Service. But today, I am focused more on our multi-agent innovations, as well as some of the work that we announced at Build this year around Agent Catalog. So those are some of the more interesting ways of helping developers just get the most out of producing more complex workflows, as well as making their lives easier by providing them the right tools, as well as the right automation, so that it's not just about, just programming and writing 100 lines of codes for what you can do in a few lines of code. So that's what my team is focused on, and I'm really excited to show you what we have been building over the last few months.
Awesome. I'm super excited. I know back during Build, when we announced all the updates around the options for creating agents, I quickly went and tried connected agents because I was like, this just makes orchestrating all your agents so much easier. And I know you brought with us a demo as well for today. So if you're ready, I can go ahead and get started with that demo.
Let's go.
All right, perfect.
So I had spoken to you about the catalog experience, and this is what it looks like. There are a variety of examples. I highly encourage you to go and try it out. This is out of the box agent templates for you to get started with, a lot of which are built by our teams at Microsoft, some of which you would have seen, like the healthcare agent, which Stanford Medicine is using today, to some of our partners such as Marquee Insights, Sight Machine, Aquan, who have also collaborated with us to bring their proprietary agent templates to our platform. Now, coming to agents and multi-agents, let us see what we're able to do today in the experience. So what I've done before meeting you all, for the interest of time, I have created an agent that is essentially an agent that would be guiding a user through the journey of applying for a mortgage or a loan. So in this case, I have created it as a an orchestrator agent that is going to hand off its responsibilities to two other agents. Now, you might ask, well, why can't I just write a huge meta prompt and it will be able to do all of the things like do research for me, or let's say do some sort of a retrieval augmented generation over existing documentation. What we have seen in our experience, that really works. But if your knowledge base or if the number of actions you're trying to add to an agent becomes more and more complex, you might see hallucinations. And you might also see that there'll be more effective communication with your agent, with the user, if you're able to separate out these agents as if they were operating with their own expertise or department. So for example, in this case, I've created two sub-agents and I have added them to this main agent. Let's look at how those were created. In this case, I created one connected agent, which is a home loan agent guide that is built, and it's based on all of the internal knowledge base that has to do with loan eligibility, what are some of the loan options, what's the credit score required, and I can show you some of the examples of what that looks like. So this is the real one of the samples on the agent catalog, and you can see that this is one of the sample repositories of information that I've added in the file search tool. This is some of the eligibility guide, and you can think that the more of this information you add as a repository to a single agent, the more it has to analyze and think about what it should do right. When you're separating these out into separate agents, the benefit of this is there is very easy traceability and the ability for you to break these down into narrower and less complex tasks. So in this case, let's go back to where we were. And I've also created another agent, which is the market insights agent that just has the Bing search tool connected to it. Now, this can be even more complex if you think about connecting it to a proprietary API, which may have some information that you may not want the other agents to be shared with. So between all of this, let's look at what a loan concierge agent can do now that it has these two connected agents created. So I'm going to try this in the playground. And let's give it some prompts. So I have created these. In this case, let's say I ask it a question that, what are the current 30-year fixed mortgage rates in California? And in this case, I'm expecting not the orchestrator agent to answer, one of the connected agents, and which one would it be? It would be the one that's connected to Bing. So let's see what it answers. Not only it should call connected agents, but it should call the mortgage market insights agent specifically. So we can see that it's calling for references here, and it correctly shows me that this is the current fixed mortgage rate in California. Now, if I want to break this and if I want to see, let's ask it a question that is specifically for Contoso Bank, which is the fictional bank whose documents I've uploaded here. And in this case, it should still call connected agents, but the other agent that I created, which was the home loan guide. Now, what are the limitations of the connected agents feature here? The idea here is that if your workflows or your business processes are fairly simplistic, which means that there's a main agent and then you've created some sub-agents that are task specialized, all of which gather the information and then they feed it to the main agent who then talks to the end customer. This is a perfect scenario for you. You can implement this entire workflow without touching a line of code on the playground, but you can also build and create more complex flows if you want to create hierarchies of agents at every level. So we can see that it's given the right information. Now, what happens if you want more control over how these handoffs are happening, the agents that are involved? Perhaps you want some agents to have a private thread. Maybe some of them have a shared context. How do you get around some of those complications? Well, let's move into code. And that's where we have multi-agent workflows as a solution for this. So I'm going to take a more complex scenario here, which is a customer support scenario where there are several agents involved. And I've created all of these agents here. So there is and let me show you how this would look like in real life. So let's start with, let's say, an agent like this. So this is a ticket creation agent, and a lot of the things that you see here are familiar, right? There is a description, there's instructions, but then there's also an ability for you to add these tools, add the components, and all of these are defined within the Open API spec. Well, what is new is all of the things that I add here, which is events, which I talked to you about earlier, which is how an agent is supposed to create triggers and respond to action. So in this case, one of the events that I've created is a ticket creation agent. So if a ticket is successfully created, it will be able to create a ticket in ADO and send me the information. Now, I'll show you this in action, but the important thing to note here are these new parameters that we are adding. Similarly with inputs, these are different types of inputs that the LLM can take. These are entirely optional, but this is good, useful information that could be fed to the LLM so that it provides you the right type of issue description when needed. Okay, so perhaps we can get into the flow here. Right, there's a little bit of technical difficulty. Here we go. Okay. So you may or may not have seen this, and this is the experimental part, is that we have created this workflow designer, which is going to explain to you what we are trying to do here. And all of this is based on real-life scenarios that we've seen to automate a customer service scenario where there's multiple teams or multiple agents that are involved, and there's handoffs. Some agents are specialized, let's say, in Windows support. Other agents are in other departments that they don't have access to it. So this is how we do it. There's a self-service agent, which is sort of a routing agent. It's the first point of contact for the customer. Any questions that the customer has, the self-service agent is going to do its best to answer these questions. If it doesn't have the answers, what does it do? It escalates to the ticket creation agent, which will first create a ticket because it wants to follow up with the customer in case we are not able to help them, or send them a resolution ticket if it is solved. Once the ticket is created, it sends the request to a routing agent. Now, this routing agent may not be exposed to the end customers because it is only for our internal orchestration needs. But we do create it because we want the agent to be, the right agent to be responding to the question. In this case, we can create several departmental agents. So think about Windows support agents as one of them. It has all the knowledge and the database about Windows, all of the troubleshooting guides, what have you. And then from Windows support, one of the two things can happen. If the issue gets resolved, the ticket gets resolved, the customer gets an email, that's it. If it doesn't get resolved, this is where the human handoff happens, where it takes you to the human escalation node, and it's able to try to get the human to help you answer, and then once the ticket is resolved, it's done. So let's see this in action. I'm going to, all right. So let's do this as soon as I run this. This has already been deployed. A thread is created. And in this case, I have a prompt, which I love asking it, which is I'm having trouble launching apps on Windows. And in this case, think about it as if this was a multi-department self-service agent that should be able to answer questions from Windows, Xbox, what have you. Now, as you can see, the workflow gets started. The self-service agent is the first to tackle this, and it rightly calls the file search tool. And in this case, it provides some general answers, and then it says the workflow is completed. Try these steps and let me know if the issue is resolved. Now, I'm going to try to say, well, issue persists. Let's see what it does. Ideally, it should escalate the issue to the agent that we defined here, which is it should first create a ticket because it wants to follow up with me. So you can see the unique thing here that you may not have seen in other multi-agent presentations is that it gives you sort of like an output which is generated by the LLM. It shows you the issue description and the attempted resolution steps. And why is this important? You'll see it in a little bit because it actually adds this to the ADO. And in addition to that, you can see that it also creates this event, which is the thread run event and the escalation event, right? And now it's asking me for an email address. So I'm going to give it my email address and see if it really works. And the expectation here is that it's going to raise a ticket. It's going to send me an email with the ticket. Now I've created an open API tool, which is connected to a logic app, which is able to send emails to the given email address, and then it says the ticket has been created. Well, did it really get created? Let's see. Should be here in a minute. While we are waiting for that, let's see what it does. So it has created this And then it has given me some more answers, right? Right. Let us refresh this. Ideally, it happens like pretty fast. It happens in less than a minute. But while that is happening, let us see what happens. It says that the ticket ID is 16. Our team will follow up with you on this email address. And after that, it doesn't stop there. There is a routing agent that is, again, doing a lot more things. Because it has identified that this is a Windows support issue, it routes to the Windows support agent, and the Windows support agent prompts to look into its own troubleshooting guides and starts to give me an answer. Well, let's say my issue is still not resolved, right? So I say issue still persists. And in this case, there would be an escalation to a human agent who would then try to help me. So you can see that the beauty of this multi-agent workflows is, one, it's part of our managed service within agent service. So you get all of the security and the authentication and the scaling benefits that you get with it. But not just that, it's entirely modular, which means that you can create and edit this graph of agents with the nodes and the transitions and the variables to suit your business needs. It's entirely possible that this could be 15 nodes with 20 different transitions, and it's entirely up to you. I'm going to check again if it's done. And look, it did send me an email. It sent me the issue description. It says that what are the steps that it has taken so far. And then it has said that please assist the user in resolving this issue, right? So the ticket has been created. But one thing I also want to check is that it should also have created an ADO item, right? So let's see if it really did. So our ticket ID was 16. And there you go. It's the same information with the issue description that has been updated here. So now if I say that, hey, the issue has been resolved, it is going to go back and resolve the issue. It's going to update the description, and that'll be the end of the workflow. So there you go. There are several such examples on the agent catalog, and I'm excited to present to you all of those examples that are ready for you to be used, whether that's in a research flows, if you're trying to replicate some of the functionality of deep research or Magentic one, we're able to do that with this workflows experience that I showed you. Maybe it's a customer support agent. And we also welcome inputs from you as well as code samples from you if you'd like to contribute to the agent catalog in the future. And that's all from me. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you again for providing us with that demo, Mona. There's a lot of great things we can do when you have a multi-agent solution. As a reminder, we will have an AMA with Mona on Friday within the Discord. There is one question, however, that we did get in the chat that I will ask here. And then for all other questions, if we could all attend the AMA on Friday. So from Prince, the question that we have for you, Mona, is what are the conditions/triggers for what type of agent to create? And then the triggers to break things down into different types of agent.
Yeah, there are several depending on the approach that you choose. So some of the common patterns that we see are, like very simple conditions, that the if then else ones. There are some more complex conditions, but that entirely depends on what is the business workflow you're trying to design. A common way that our customers love using building triggers with is Azure Logic Apps. So if you haven't tried that, you should. But essentially, the idea then becomes that you're able to trigger any of the 1,400 plus external services and applications that Logic Apps has built-in internal triggers with to trigger your entire workflow. So think about, let's say, something like if you want to add a trigger that as soon as you get an entry into, let's say, a new chat over Teams, you want to end up triggering a workflow that, let's say, escalates a certain issue to the pertinent department, right? And then similar to what I showed in my demo, you're able to create these really interesting different paths, but you also have the flexibility to build out a condition that's, let's say, a little more hierarchical and a little more conditional based on, do you want to build let's say, one representative for a team, or think about swarms of agents where you have a single agent that has multiple agents that are also specialized in their own tasks, and all of them report to a single agent, or they get triggered by a single trigger that you may have defined right at the beginning of the workflow. So the opportunities there are plenty, but I would say it entirely depends on the business use case and what is the scenario you're trying to automate.
All right, thank you. And I am so excited to dive into that more on Friday with you, Mona. Again, everyone, as a reminder, Mona will be joining us live on Friday in the Discord. I know Nitya just shared information and a link to how you can access that on Friday. She placed it in the chat, so please be sure to join us. Thanks again, Mona, so much for joining us today for the Model Monday stream. And with that said, we are heading up to our next and final segment, which is actually quite timely because what we're going to look at in terms of this demo does align to the use case that Mona just shared. Just before we hop into that, I do want to give a little tiny shout out to Ravi. I did see in the chat that you are, you usually tune in a lot to our stream, which is awesome. And I have seen you before. So, definitely appreciate all the support, especially the continued support that we're getting for folks that are usually tuning in live. All right. So with that said, I am going to dive into our next and final segment with Sukrit from Atomicwork. How are you, Sukrit? I know it's nighttime, so I would say, how are you this evening, Sukrit?
Hi, April. It's been great. How
That's
are you
good.
doing?
I'm okay. It's Monday morning still here in LA, so I'm excited and full of energy. Before we dive into the demo you're going to share with us, could you tell us a little bit more about yourself as well as Atomicwork and give us an idea of what we're going to be taking a look at today?
Okay. So I'm an AI research engineer at Atomicwork. At Atomicwork, what we do is we try to make the life of employees at big orgs and the ops team a little bit easier. So we all know the problem that when orgs get very big, the documentations, they just pile up and up and up, and we never really get the time to look at it. And then we just end up asking questions to the ops team who are already overworked, right? And less appreciated, if I might say. And then they go through our docs. We have the relevant information, but they have to look through plenty of documentation and then figure out, and then this takes a while, and it's not productive for anybody, right? So that's what we are trying to solve using agents. What we really want is the employees to be really productive. So if they are blocked on something, we want to unblock them as soon as possible. And if that is not possible, so it might take some authorizations or something, then we really want to engage the right people at the right time so that they really get resolved.
All right, awesome. And you know, I love that. Making the end users more self-sufficient, giving the ops team more time to tend to the items that they really need to work on. And with that said, we are going to start the demo, and then Sukrit come back and join us for some questions from the audience. Do submit your questions while we're looking at the demo. I will be sharing them live here. And with that said, let's go ahead and start the demo.
Hi everyone, I am Sukrit from Atomicwork. I am an AI engineer and I design integrated AI systems. These systems are really quite intelligent as they learn from their active environment and they can adapt to almost any task context. Today, I'm here to talk to you about agentic service management. Now, here's an idea. What if employees don't need to wait to get their L1 questions answered? Or they don't need to switch between multiple tools just to get some help. That's the reality we are creating here at Atomicwork. And we are not just incrementally improving traditional ITSM, we are fundamentally rethinking how service management should work at modern enterprises. Let's say that you need to reset your Salesforce password at 2 p.m. in the noon. The traditional way would be to go into a portal, look for the right form, fill out 8 different fields, and then wait. You wait for several hours, and then somebody finally gets back to you and they ask for some very basic generic info. And if this kind of thing requires approval from your manager or maybe some other personnel, that might take another day or so. That's very painful and a wasted day of work. You can contrast this with when agentic AI is involved. Take the same situation. You need to reset your Salesforce password. No issues. You just hit the agent up in Teams or in the channel that you might use and just say, hey, can you help me reset my Salesforce password? This agentic AI, it actually understands your role. It will look through your recent activities. It'll look through the Salesforce status page, and it will either get it fixed instantly or connect you to the right person with the full context. It's like having a personal IT assistant that actually works with you and understands your environment. This is what Atomicwork brings to the table, a service management platform powered by Atom. It's a universal agent that works across all of your channels, is multimodal, very intelligent, and it's proactive. It's this personalized service management platform that's an integrated source of truth. Let's see this in action. Let's run through some real-world examples where Atom would help me. First, I would say, hello, Atom. It's only polite to greet the AI. Great. Uh, so let's start with something really simple. I'll ask it, what's the Wi-Fi password? Okay. So it gave me possible Wi-Fi passwords. And also it says that if I do need extra help setting up my wireless network, I am able to raise a request here. Okay. Now let's ask it something a bit more challenging. I'd ask it, my VPN is not working. Okay. You can see that it has a number of solutions for me. There are troubleshooting steps, uh, and these are all provided by trusted knowledge links uh, with all the citations if you need to dig in more. And it also says that if I do not have a VPN setup, or if I do not have VPN access, because that might also be the issue that I do not have access to the VPN to begin with, it actually proactively understands that and builds up that form as well. Now, a thing that many engineers run into is like we might need access to a GitHub repository. So I'll say, I need access to ESD repo and GitHub. Don't mind the typo. Adam will understand your typos. Okay, so I can directly request for GitHub repo access, or it also knows if I do not have the GitHub org access, then I cannot access a particular repo in it. So if I click on this link, you can see it opens up the form and it pre-fills all the necessary conditions. Right. So that's Atom in action. Okay. So now we will see Atom in action, and I'll show you how I do not even need to switch from my Chrome browser tab. As you can see, I'm in GitHub, and recently some of my projects have been complaining that they need some new GitHub access token for me to be able to push code to GitHub repositories. Now, I initially did that like 3 months ago, and I don't really remember how to do it again. So as you can see, Atom lives right here. We'll ask Atom. Hi, Atom.
Hello there. How can I help you today?
Just a moment. I'll start sharing my screen. Can you confirm if you can see my screen?
Yes, I can see your screen clearly. It looks like you're currently on the GitHub homepage.
Mm-hmm. Can you guide me through how to make a personal access token?
You want to create a personal access token for GitHub. I'm checking our knowledge base for the steps right now. One moment, please. It seems I couldn't find a specific article in our knowledge base for creating a personal access token on GitHub. However, I can still guide you through the process by looking at your screen. First, could you please click on your profile icon in the top right corner of the GitHub page? It's the one next to the bell icon.
Okay.
Great. I see you've clicked on your profile icon. Now, from the drop-down menu, please click on Settings. It's near the bottom of the list.
Got it.
Perfect. Now that you're on the Settings page, look at the left-hand menu. My apologies. I got a little ahead of myself. From the left-hand menu, scroll down a bit. You'll see Developer Settings at the very bottom. Please click on that.
Okay.
Excellent. Now you're in Developer Settings. On the left-hand side, under Developer Settings, you'll see Personal Access Tokens. Please click on that.
Yeah.
Okay, I see you're on the Personal Access Tokens page. To proceed, you have two options here: Fine-Grained Tokens and Tokens Classic. For most uses, fine-grained tokens are recommended as they offer more granular control. Please click on Fine-Grained Tokens.
Okay. Should I click on the green button saying Generate New Token?
Yes, that's exactly right. Please click on the green button that says Generate New Token.
Okay, it's asking for a token name. I just put it Fleet Integration.
Now let's look at the repository access section. You have public repositories selected. Is this token only for public repositories, or do you need it to?
I need to access repositories owned by my company and also my private repositories.
I understand. To access both your company's repositories and your private ones, please select the All Repositories option under Repository Access.
Okay. And I hope I can add permissions from here. What are these for?
You're right. These are the permissions you can grant to your token. Each of these options, like actions, administration, and attestations, allows the token to perform specific operations within your repositories. For example, actions would let the token manage GitHub Actions workflows. What kind of tasks will this token need to perform? Knowing that will help us.
They definitely need to perform actions. Okay, I'll zip through those things. And I'll also need pull requests. And I'll also need workflows. Okay, I think that's about it. Should I generate the token now?
Yes, you can go ahead and click the Generate Token button now.
Great. Okay, I now have my access token. I'll just copy it. Thanks, Adam, for walking me through that.
You are most welcome. I'm glad I could help you generate your personal access token. Is there anything else I can assist you with today?
Nope, you can go to sleep now. So, as you guys can see, even though I did not remember how to create the access token, and it would have been really a hassle to go and ask somebody, then again, I have to go with my laptop or have to write the steps, and I could not find the right things on the screen again. Atom is actually multimodal, and it helps me right through the process. And I did not need to switch tools. I did not need to activate any other things. So this is the power that a multimodal cross-channel and a seamless AI integration can bring to your life.
All right, I'm completely mind blown because when I first started in tech, I was tier 1 support. And so seeing this, I'm just like, someone else could have handled this completely, and I could have focused on all the other tasks that I had to do. Just like Lalit said in the chat, fantastic demo, Sukrit, completely like blown away and wowed by what we just saw. Does it still wow you today? And I know you're working on this, but like, does it still wow you today?
Every day. So every day I think like it could not get any better. Microsoft Azure comes up with something, and the open source community is also very helpful. Every day is like it's like a new thing.
Yeah, absolutely. And so I know we saw this demo in English. Is it also available? Does it support other languages as well?
Yes, so that's currently a beta feature. Most of our customers are mostly in the US, right? So US was the primary ask of our customers. But yes, as we expand into other like areas, we would support multiple languages as well.
All right. And we have another amazing in the chat from Daniel. Cannot agree more. This is definitely amazing. So the example that you shared with us, once we got into GitHub, which I'm assuming we were in the browser at that point. And so is it the case that Atom could work with really any web page, or is there some configuration that would need to occur in order to, I guess, enable Atom to work across different web pages in that similar function?
No, so Atom can actually work across all the pages, all the web pages. You as a consumer can obviously restrict access to certain pages, right? You don't want to answer questions about everything. But
Yeah.
sure, yeah. So if you have a Salesforce page or whatever tool you might be using, that's the power of AI, right? It's so generalizable. You can actually get your L1 questions, and to some level, your L2 questions also answered really quickly.
Yeah, absolutely. And this looks to be a really great reason when you think about employee onboarding. If someone's brand new to using something that the team typically uses, that really helps with from a training perspective too. We do have a question in the chat from Craig. Craig has says, first and foremost, great demo. And then the thing that Craig runs into in cases like this is the agent refusing to use the most recent documentation. Is it possible to specify this as a limitation for models?
For some cases, yes, but we have a very extensive data ingestion model. So what we do is we regularly ingest the current and most up-to-date information that our consumers provide, so that the AI always has the latest information. If you are running into these problems, it would be worth taking a look at the data process, right? The RAG process you have, and then you can obviously switch out for larger models. But yeah, I'd mostly say the data, like the AI will respond as good as the data it has.
All right, thank you. And then Nitya slid me a question. We don't see it in the chat, but I see it from Nitya. And the question is, Nitya is curious to know if it carries context across tabs. So would she need to use the token somewhere else? And can it remind her that the tab is still open?
Yeah, sure. So not just across Chrome tabs, it can actually, if you give it access, it can actually help you across your entire system. So in the demo, I generated it for Fleet, right?
Mhm.
Fleet is a new ID I'm trying out. So it actually helped me put the correct token there.
All right. I will definitely say again, blown away by this demo. I 100% love it. You have a fan here of Atom and the work that you're all doing at Atomicwork. Before we wrap up, though, Sukrit, is there anything else you want to share with us and the audience that's tuning in today by chance?
Yeah, sure. So this, like, we actually ran a very extensive evaluation, right?
Mhm.
We went with many vendors for our testing, right? Azure was surprisingly aligned with our values of information security, and also like GPT-5 is out, I don't know, maybe yesterday, a day before, and we are already running evals with the latest GPT-5 and all the models, the thinking, the mini, and everything, right?
Yeah.
It has been really a great experience because we like information security is actually pretty important when you work with big enterprises, right? And
Yes.
having Azure there really puts our customers' mind at ease.
That's the beauty of working with Azure. I can definitely say, having spent the past year diving deep into evals, I completely understand where you're coming from. Well, thank you so much for joining us today for our stream. Again, you had some really great feedback in the chat as well from folks, and I'm sure that folks that'll be tuning in for our video on demand version of the stream will probably also be just as amazed. And so with that said, we are near the end of our stream for today. Thank you, Sukrit, for joining us. With that said, heading into next Monday, I saw some chatter earlier in the chat about what's coming up. And so here's more information on the next Model Mondays episode, which will be Monday, is that the 18th? Oh, goodness, it's almost Christmas. All right. All right. So on the 18th, document processing. We're going to have Param joining us. The episode will be hosted by my colleague and teammate, Bethany. And then next on Friday, I've mentioned this multiple times, but definitely want to make sure you all are aware. Friday, we are going to have Foundry Fridays. It's an AMA in the Foundry Discord. Mona will be back. We will be live. Bring all your questions and we will make sure that we get to them. And then in addition to that, the last thing I have for you all are just some links. Do be sure to tune in to both the former and the upcoming Model Monday streams. Please join the AMA. If you're not part of the Discord, definitely come join the Discord in advance. But if you join the day of, we won't be upset so long as you join us. And then also, the team here has done a really wonderful job with putting together recaps of the Model Monday streams. You can find those in the forum, and that QR code and short link is provided there as well. Again, thank you everyone for tuning in today, not just today, but every Monday, as well as those who are catching our videos afterwards on demand on YouTube. With that said, I'm going to go enjoy my Monday now, and we hope to see you all next week, as well as Friday for the AMA. Until next time, everyone, take care.
Thank you all for joining, and thank you to our speakers. This session is a part of a series. To register for future shows and watch past episodes on demand, you can follow the link on the screen or in the chat. We're always looking to improve our sessions and your experience. If you have any feedback for us, we would love to hear what you have to say. You can find that link on the screen or in the chat. We'll see you at the next one.